Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 11th of July and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we'll discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu along with all the articles, background, etc. And I would also like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in the description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So, the first page, we don't have much of the important articles for the exam. Rain continues, North India. These advertisements are there. Then, guys, in the city section, we have Yamuna inching towards the danger mark because of the high rains, and these kind of issues, advertisements have been given. So, much important articles are not here. Then, guys, further moving on, here we have one article, Madras High Court to quash the criminal cases against minor boys for consensual relationships. So we'll see this particular article with respect to the POXO Act. Then further moving on, after that, here we have one more article, how urban India is reclaiming spaces for its communities. This article also will see with respect to the examination. Then moving on, then we have these advertisements, etc. not important for the examination. Coming to the editorial section. AI's disruptive economic impact and India check. We'll see this particular article with respect to the technologies, their opportunities, the challenges that they will bring with respect to GS paper number 3. Then guys, here we have article Chandrayaan 3 is expected to be launched on the July 14, fine, from Shri Harikota. Now this particular Chandrayaan 3 is our Chandrayaan 3 aims to repeat the basically it aims to achieve what Chandrayaan 2 was not able to achieve, because there were the issues in the soft landing of the Chandrayaan 2 that was launched in 2019. Okay, so the rover and the lander had a problem, okay, in 2019. So now we are trying to achieve the same thing by the Chandrayaan 3. Now one thing guys I want to tell you here, that you are not required to track this particular article right now. Why? Because first of all, we have discussed it earlier also. Secondly, the mission would be launched on July 14, and then it will be landing on the moon around August 23, 24. By the time you will write your exam next year, all the findings, major findings of this particular mission, takeaways, etc. will come. So when that final thing will come, then I will advise you to go in this particular article. Till then, day-to-day development is not required. Fine. So I hope you are understanding this. Then moving to the next, women's reproductive autonomy. We'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. Don't waste the wastewater. Again, we'll see this exam. Opposition without a leader. Okay, so the article is giving the political stakes in Karnataka. Fine. Much important article is not there for the examination. Okay, record rainfall, Chandigarh, Kulu, see wettest day in history. Okay, so the article is talking about the rainfall patterns. Then text and context, the global south, origin and significance. We'll see this particular article for the examination. Then what were the events which led to the riots in France? So recently we have seen that the France has seen the riots because after a shooting of, after a person that was shot down. Fine. Now guys, the article is giving basically the trail of the events that led to all these riots. In the past also such kind of incidents have happened. Now again, moving on in this particular direction guys, you are not required to go too much in detail. You are not required to identify that okay, in which year, what type of these tensions happened, etc. Okay, then text and context page. This article is talking about the palliative care. So what is palliative care? Why palliative care is needed for non-communicable diseases? All these things will take up here. Then further moving on guys, we on the uh, page number 10, we largely have the issues related to the Manipur crisis. Okay, then again we have these political issues. Now here we have an article, Supreme Court issues notice to center on Delhi ordinance. So recently we have seen that the president has promulgated an ordinance by which the new body, that is the National Capital Civil Service Authority, was created. That National Capital Civil Service Authority was expected, it was expected to see the matters of the civil servants, their posting, transfer, disciplinary matters. Now this ordinance is being criticized. Why? Because it has reversed the earlier Supreme Court ruling. So before this ordinance, Supreme Court gave the ruling that the control of the elected government, Aam Aadmi Party, will be there on the civil servants in Delhi. But the power has been taken back, and again the LG has been given the power. So this ordinance goes in opposition to the Supreme Court ruling. So therefore, it now this thing will be questioned. Okay, and on one of the LG's order also, the stay has been asked. Now, guys, this particular matter would be heard on 17th of July. Then we will see that what takeaways have come out of that. Till then, please don't follow every day-to-day detail in this particular thing. Okay, then moving on, guys. After that, we have the political statements. Fine. Uzra Zeya meets Quatra, discusses Indo-Pacific cooperation, civil rights. So, US Under Secretary of the State, okay, Uzra Zeya, is visiting India, and there they have discussed about the Indo-Pacific cooperation. Already you know that India and USA are the partners on the quadrilateral security dialogue. Okay, then further moving on, BRS will strongly oppose center's uniform civil code. Okay, so the article is talking about the BRS, the political party. Okay, now this UCC has become more of a political issue. Okay, but you are not required to see that what political party, which political parties are criticizing, which parties are supporting, but the concept of UCC, how UCC would be helpful, what could be the problems of UCC, these dimensions you have to see with respect to the examination. And in the past, I think at least 6-7 times we have discussed these things also. Then further, after that, moving on, guys, Rafale, Scorpions and jet engine development on the agenda of PM's France trip. So basically, guys, the Prime Minister of India will be visiting towards the end of this particular week to the France for the Bastille Day parade. And as the Prime Minister will be visiting the France, there are the expectations that deal on Rafale jet, Scorpion submarines, okay, jet engine, that particular deal would be signed. Now, guys, moving on in this particular direction, again, I want to tell you one very important thing. Are you required to read this particular article today? Again, no. Why no? There is a reason behind that. When this meet will happen, okay, by the end of this week, we will come to know what are the exact takeaways, what are the exact agreements that have been passed. This is an expectation. What will actually be signed out? It might be different. So why to waste the time right now when this particular thing will be covered by the end of this week when the actual visit will happen? So these are the things that you need to understand while reading the newspaper, okay? Because when we say, everybody says that ensure you complete your newspaper within 1 hour, but if you don't know what to read, what not to read, you will never be able to complete your newspaper in 1 hour. You will be doing it for 3 or 4 hours. You are repeating the things which anyhow be coming later, or irrelevant things you are going to take up. Okay, so then moving on the world page, Biden meets Sunak King in UK before NATO summit. Okay, so basically, guys, we see this particular thing that the NATO summit is expected. Okay, so before that, the meet has happened. Russian president meets Wagner chief. Again, moving on. Are you required to go too much in detail in these particular articles? Not much. Why? Because when we talk about the international relation of GS paper number 2, basically the developments which will have impact on India's international interest or any development related to India's foreign policy are important for examination. Every evolutionary detail, meetings between the leaders, okay, there are so many hundreds of the leaders, every statement not important. Okay, then further in the business page, FPI is not having to disclose final honor is challenging in Adani Hindenburg case SEBI. So basically, guys, the Hindenburg report was released a few months back, and this particular report said that the Adani has involved into the stock price manipulation, accounting manipulation, and all such kind of a thing. So the investigation is going on in this particular direction, and as the investigation is going on, the foreign portfolio investments that have come and that have a link with respect to the Adani investment, they are not bound to disclose the last honor, the final honor. And because of that, this investigation has become challenging and it is taking more time. The SEBI has submitted this particular thing to the Supreme Court. Now, again, guys, telling you one particular thing that basically this is the matter which is going on under the investigation. By the time you will write your examination, this investigation would have changed its course. Some new things will come, some old things will become redundant. Are you required to follow this investigation that SEBI is not able to complete investigation because the foreign portfolio investments have not to reveal the last origin? No. Okay, so again guys, these kind of are the investigative matters will not be relevant by the time your exam will come. So please don't go too much in detail in this particular thing. Okay, and then we have the sports page and all such things. So guys, I hope that you are able to learn the art of decoding the newspaper as well. Fine. Now let's discuss the relevant articles one by one in the detail, and in every class we start with the GS quotation. So today we'll take the GS quotation, okay, from Tian Wai. So the quote reads, any society that fails to harness the energy and creativity of its women is at a huge disadvantage in the modern world. So guys, when we talk about the women, they make up around make up around 50% of the population, and often women's creativity, women's credentials, women's skill sets, they are questioned because of the deep patriarchal beliefs, and by that particular thing we are doing a disservice to us. If we are not tapping the women's energy, if we are not tapping the women's creativity, then it is a big disadvantage, a big loss to the modern world. Okay, so that is all guys about it. I hope that you have understood the quotation. We can use this idea with respect to the GS paper number 1 as well as GS paper number 2, social issues and social justice. Okay, so that is all about. Now moving to the first article for today. So the first article, it talks about the global south, origin and significance. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, international relations, international groupings, okay, India's leadership, okay, in the international groupings. Now this particular word, the global south, has become quite popular in the past few months. Why? Because guys, just a few months back, the India has led the Global South Summit, and India is showcasing itself as the leader of the Global South. Now, first of all, what is the meaning of this Global South? So, Global South, first of all, it is a collective term to denote the developing countries which lies largely in the southern hemisphere. So basically, when we talk about the countries of Africa, Asia, Latin America, these countries usually have similar socio-economic condition. For example, relatively they are having high poverty, there is high level of income inequality, life expectancy is low. Income inequality is high, life expectancy is low, poverty is high. Okay, so these countries are the one which are collectively called as the global south. Why they are called as global south? In comparison to the global north. Now what is the global north? Global north is the grouping of the countries. Global north is the grouping of countries which is characterized by the countries of North America such as Canada, USA, then the countries of the Europe. So European countries, North American countries, they are relatively rich, they are more prosperous, per capita income is high, poverty levels are low, state expenditure is high. Okay, so we compare the global south with this global north. So therefore the world in a way has been divided in two parts. This blue part is the global north and this red part is the global south. However, understand this particular thing, that global south just doesn't mean only the southern countries. If you see the Australia, New Zealand, they are in the south, but they don't come into the definition of global south. They are called as a global north. So it is not purely the geographical union. It is not the geographical term. Rather, it denotes the political, geopolitical and economic commonalities between the nation. Okay, political commonality, economic commonality and geopolitical commonality of all these particular countries. Fine. Now, basically guys, first of all, this global south as a word was not very much popular. And when we see the countries, we divide them in the category. For example, there was the division as first world countries, second world countries and third world countries. First world countries were the capitalist countries which rapidly grew in terms of their economy, and the countries such as America, England, they were called as the first world countries. Second world countries are the socialist countries which were opposed to the capitalist system, and these second world countries were led by the countries of it was led by the Soviet Union. So Soviet Union, some of the Eastern European countries, they were called as the second world. And third world countries, these are those countries which were still under the colonial rule in the 1940s and 50s, and they were getting the new independence around 1950s. For example, India got independence in 1947. And after the 1950s, many of the African countries got their independence. So these newly emerged countries which got new independence, they became the third world countries, and often these countries had high poverty, development level were low. So we got called that as the third world. Now guys, see this particular thing. Post 1991, we see that the collapse of the Soviet Union happened. And as the collapse of Soviet Union happened, this second world classification would be vanished, because now Soviet Union is no more. So this third world classification also will be vanishing, because these third world countries will then be called as the second world. But still, that third world usage or third world country reference has been used, and this third world country reference has been used to denote the poor countries where the social justice is lagging, and all such kind of things were used. Now, since 1990, we find that again one more type of terminology entered the dictionary. We started to see the world as developed countries, developing countries, and underdeveloped countries. But this classification has faced a lot of criticism. Why? Because developed countries are the one. Okay, or which country you call as developed country? The Western countries, you call it as a developed country. Now, we are connecting the development with the West, but we find that spiritually, many of the countries of Asia, countries such as Bhutan, they might be more contented than the Western world of materialism. But the Western world where economic growth has come, we are connecting that economic growth with the development. We have created a template that, okay, Western world means developed, and everybody's growth, everybody's development is being compared with that. Okay, so Western countries were created as an ideal. Okay, Western countries were created as a club where everybody want to reach. This is something that for the which it was criticized. And then the term global south emerged. Now, what is that global south? Global south is a collective term for countries who are geographically largely in global south, but apart from that, political, economic, social commonality is also there. These countries were called as the global south. Okay, so global south came. Now guys, we find this particular thing that actually since the 21st century, even these global south countries, they are facing a shift in wealth. For example, since 21st century, shift in wealth is going on as per the World Bank, and this shift has happened from North Atlantic to Asia Pacific, And in this capacity, if we see by 2030, it is projected that the four of the largest economies in total, out of the four largest economy, three would be from Asia. For example, by 2030, the largest economy would be China, India, US, and Indonesia. Now, out of these four, these three are the global south. Okay, so this is something. So global south also is now flexing its muscle. It is moving towards the growth, development. Okay, and in this context, India recently has organized the Global South Summit, where India is projecting itself as the leader of the global south, and right now India is also chairing G20. So this can be the opportunity that on the G20 platform also India can project itself as the credible leader of global south. Okay, that is about it. Now moving to the next article, the need for strengthening palliative care in the face of the communicable disease. Now we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to health. Now, first of all guys, some of the background I want to tell you. When we talk about the healthcare can be of three types. Number one, preventive healthcare, which aims that you don't get the disease in the first place. For example, you are getting the vaccine so that you don't get infected in the future also. That is the part of the preventive healthcare. Then there is curative healthcare. Curative healthcare aims at giving the treatment once a person has been infected with some disease or illness. For example, you take the paracetamol after you get fever. So that is the curative health care. We are curing you. And then the third is the palliative health care. Palliative health care. Now, what is this palliative health care? Palliative health care is for the pain management. Now, understand this particular thing, that often there are many people who are suffering with such kind of disease where the treatment is not possible. Death is nearly sure, but then these people are also in lot of pain. That treatment is very much expensive. Okay, treatment is very much expensive. That treatment has giving them a lot of pain. For example, many of the cancer patients, there are many types of cancer where the treatment is not possible, and chemotherapy often is a very painful process. It has a lot of reactions in the body, so the person is always in a pain. So reduce that pain, improving the quality of life, that is the focus of the palliative care. Now, when we talk about, guys, India, when we talk about India, you see this particular thing, that India is home to 20% of the world population. So 20% of the world population stays in the India, and two-thirds of this population lives in the rural India. Two-thirds of the world population is living in the rural India. And today we see this particular thing, that the burden of non-communicable disease, lifestyle disease. Now, lifestyle disease are those diseases which come from the lifestyle diseases are those diseases which come because of the poor lifestyle, sedentary lifestyle, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. They are called as a lifestyle non-communicable disease. Now it has been said that more and more people are getting infected with these kind of disease. Nearly 1.4 million people in India are diagnosed with cancer every year. Then hypertension, respiratory disease, these diseases are there. And often in these disease, the palliative care, which means reducing the pain, palliative care, improving their improving the quality of their life, such kind of treatment is needed. But when we talk about the palliative care, it is often not available to the people in the rural India. Okay, so there is a question, sir, what is the meaning of palliative care? So I told you, palliative care, the palliative care is the branch of medicine which focuses on improving the quality of life, okay, preventing the suffering, reducing the suffering, all these things. Now, when we talk about the palliative care, so largely palliative care, it is not available. If available, it is available into the tertiary healthcare facilities, super specialty hospitals in the urban areas. But I have told you that two-thirds of the people, actually live in the rural India. So patients are in rural India, palliative care is in the urban India. This is the accessibility issue that has come. And because of this accessibility issue, many people are not able to access. Secondly, guys, when we talk about the availability of services, only 1 to 2% of the 7 to 10 million people who require the palliative care are able to get. So 7 to 10 million people require palliative care, but out of that only 1% to 2% are able to get. Okay, so 98% are not receiving the palliative care. Now, is there any government's program to give the palliative care to people? Okay, so is there some government program to provide the palliative care to the people? Yes. Now, not exactly the palliative care, but we have this national program for prevention and control of non-communicable diseases, and it aims to reduce the expenditure of the people, expenditure which people are committing on the non-communicable diseases. It focuses on providing the preventive, curative health care in primary hospital, tertiary hospital. But actually, it again is not addressing the palliative care component. Okay, preventive care good, curative care good, but palliative care focus is not there of the national program for prevention and control of the NCDs. Then the next issue that comes here is that, guys, is that often palliative care could be provided more effectively at the home. Now, some of the patients are there which are suffering with the life limiting disease. They cannot afford the hospital facilities. Even the enough number of beds are not there in the government hospitals. So at the home, with the help of the nurse, with the help of some therapies, they can be provided the palliative care. But the home based palliative care concept is not there in the India. Even if there are some government guidelines for the palliative care, it is to be provided from the district hospital and not from the home. Okay, so this is one issue. Now guys, further moving on, there was one more program for the palliative care that was announced. That was the National Program for Palliative Care 2012. It was announced in 2012, but till now the funding has not been given. So actually the program is there, but still palliative care is not reaching to the people. So all these are the concerns. Now there are some good NGOs and civil societies which have tried to provide this service. For example, there is the Pallium India, okay, Karuna Shraya, Can Support. Now you can use the name or the examples of these NGOs in your answers also. Even in GS paper number 2, there is the role of the NGOs and civil societies. There you can use it. So these NGOs are trying to fill the gap, but still they cannot do, because always their resources will be limited. Okay, so this is something. At the same time, 98% of the children who are facing who are facing the diseases where the terminal disease are there. Okay, 98% of children facing the terminal disease, they are in the lower and middle income countries, in which India is also one of our country. So for these children also palliative care is to be provided. Fine. So these are all the things, guys. And finally, in the conclusion, you can give the World Health Assembly's resolution in 2014 that it took and provided that palliative care is to be integrated into the health system at all levels. Now, what is the World Health Assembly? So, World Health Assembly is the highest decision-making body under the WHO. Okay, so World Health Assembly has passed the resolution that palliative care has to be provided. But if country is not providing it, we are also missing on to the mandate of WHO. So, this is, guys, all about it. And now we'll move to the next article. Okay, how urban India is reclaiming spaces for its communities. Now, this particular article will see as a case study for GS paper number 2, urban planning, urban governance. We can use it as a case study. Now, let's discuss some of the basic things, guys, first. So basically, when we talk about, guys, India, you know this particular thing, that large number of people in India are living into the cramped urban spaces, and in these cramped urban spaces they don't have the facility to access the public parks, public spaces are not there, recreational facilities are not there. Okay, and all these particular things impact the ease of living. Now when we talk about, guys, India, just some number I want to give you here. So according to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, 34% of India's population lives in cities. 34% of India's population lives in cities. And you know, the condition of livability in these cities is very much poor. So how to give them the spaces for recreation, public parks? For this particular thing, guys, we have seen that there are some interesting initiatives that have got started. For example, there is a cafe that has been started onto the terrace of a prominent hospital in the Maharashtra's Pimpri Chinchwad. Then Anganwadi Center has opened under a flyover in the Gujarat's Vadodara. Then there is a children's park that has been opened up at a dump yard. There was a dump yard. There a children's park has been opened up in Telangana's Warangal. Okay, so how innovatively they are using the space under the flyover is being used, terrace of the hospital is being used, we see that the dump yard is being used. Then you see this particular thing, that there is also the case study, this case study of the Nagaland's Kohima. Now what has happened into the Nagaland's Kohima? A small patch of land where the waste was dumped, that patch of land has been converted into a park. It has been converted into a park, and it has now become the meeting points of the citizens. Citizens are coming, they are organizing the picnic there, children are coming, celebrations are being done. So in all the examples we see that the waste place has been used, a new place has been invented, and this is called as place making. It is called as place making. What is place making? Place making is a phenomena to create public spaces, for utilitarian purpose, for social interaction purposes. and you are not using the all what you are doing here, you are using the land which was abandoned, the land which was not properly used. It is called as place making, and through the place making, the unused, underused, vacant places can be reclaimed, and these places after reclamation can be given to the citizens. Public parks could be made there, okay, community centers could be made there, okay, anganwadi centers could be made there. All these things could be done at these places. Okay, now all this particular thing, guys, is being done actually under the initiative of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and under the Smart City Mission. So Smart City Mission is a dedicated mission under which the 100 cities will be converted as smart city. So under the Smart City Mission, these urban places or place making concept is being taken up. Now here, guys, the local bodies, communities, MLAs, corporators, all of them come together and they take up these particular projects. And after the COVID-19 pandemic, there is more realization that we need such urban spaces. As of now, 200 projects have been completed in more than 55 Indian cities. Okay, so this is one of an innovative approach that is being taken, and we need more and more such approaches, and even this thing is to be replicated in almost all the cities of India. Okay, so this is all about this. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Madras High Court to quash criminal cases against minor boys for consensual relationship with minor girls. Now, this particular issue we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to the children. GS paper number 2, issues related to the children. Now, before going in this particular article, I would like to tell you some of the basic background information first, and after this background information, we'll see that what the article is talking about. So basically, guys, we have the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, POCSO Act, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. Now, this particular act defines that any person below the age of 18 is a child. Any person below the age of 18 is a child, and no person can carry any sexual activity, sexual intercourse with this particular person, even after taking the consent. So simply, in simple terms, it means that a person less than 18 years of age cannot even give the consent. Okay, it is because that person is a child. So no sexual activity can be done with a person less than 18 years of age. Now, guys, we come often across that there are many instances where there are the minor children, minor boy and girl. Let's say the boy was of 17 years and the girl was also 17 years. They were in a consensual relationship and they have made some sexual relation. Now, often when the parents of the girl come to know about this particular thing, they are filing the case against the boy, who is also the minor under the POCSO Act. Now, it was a consensual relation, number one. Number two, the boy didn't even knew it is a crime. And after that, that boy's life is completely destroyed. Now, guys, many number of times what happens, even the minor children, okay, less than 18 years of age, they elope, they run away, okay, they organize the wedding under some of the custom, and they start to live together where the sexual relation is also established. Even under those cases against the boy, the case is being filed. Now, guys, in this particular direction, the Madras High Court has decided that the criminal cases will be quashed against the minor boys if they had consensual relationship. That is, the boy and the girl both have consensual relationship. The case will be quashed against the boy if there is a possibility that it might impact the future of the children involved. Now, guys, there are many of the cases where the girl and boy, they decide jointly that they'll elope. Okay, but the entire burden is being placed onto the boy and his life is getting destroyed. Girl, now in these cases, we see this particular thing, that what happened, the girl is treated as a child, okay, and girl is treated as the victim. The minor girl is treated as the victim, and the minor boy is treated as a child in conflict with the law. Okay, now you understand this particular thing. What was the logic behind this law? Logic behind this particular law was to tame the people who rape the children, the people who try to take the advantage of the innocence of the children and try to sexually harass them, molest them. It was not meant to penalize such kind of relationships. So Madras High Court had said that in such cases, the criminal charges will not be imposed on the boys. Also, the Madras High Court has said that the two-finger test and potency test by collecting the sperms of the boy will not be done. Now, first of all, two-finger test is for girls. What is two-finger test? So, two-finger test, already the Supreme Court has banned it, but still it is done. So, two-finger test is an invasive procedure in which the two fingers will be inserted in the vagina of the girl to ascertain whether she had a sexual intercourse or not. Okay, as well as to see that whether the hymen is intact or not. Now, this methodology is not needed today. Okay, it is too invasive. It impacts the dignity, privacy of the women. But still, the doctors are doing it. So, you cannot do that. And then potency test. Okay, whether a person or a male was potent to have the sexual intercourse. That potency test is done by collecting the sperm of that boy. So, potency test is to be done. If it is to be done, it should be done by collecting the blood samples and not by collecting the sperm. So, this is something which Madras High Court has ruled in the context of the children, and for the children issues, children sexual abuse, sexual assault becomes an important theme. So, there you need to see that. Now, moving to the next article. AI's disruptive economic impact on India, check. Now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, technology and its impact, issues related to the technology. Now, guys, we see this particular thing that today the generative artificial intelligence such as the chat, GPT, etc., they have become very much pervasive. And when we talk about the artificial intelligence such as the chat GPT, it will have both positive as well as a negative on the society. Now, this article has beautifully defined the positive as well as the negative impact that will come. Now, first of all, we will see the positive impact of the artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence, and all such kind of AIs. So, positive impact is this, that first of all, it is provided by a report, Generative AI at Work. Now, this particular report provides this particular thing, that AI-based tools such as the chat GPT, they increase the worker productivity by 14%. At the end of the day, such generative AI is also improving the customer satisfaction. Better customer services are being given. For example, today you have a issue at Zomato, Swiggy. What you'll do? You will type your message, then a pre-generated response will come immediately in 2 seconds. So, and most of the issues are resolved by that prompt. So, customer services are being increased. Moreover, experts say this particular thing, that generative AI, generative artificial intelligence such as chat GPT, may not replace employees, but employees using generative AI will replace who don't upskill. So, you will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced if you don't upskill yourself. You need to learn these new tools and these new technologies. Moreover, it has also been provided, a recent survey was done amongst the employees of the LinkedIn's top 50 companies in the USA. So, LinkedIn's top 50 companies in US, and the 70% of the employees have said that because of AI, they are becoming more faster, smarter and more productive. And as per one of a report of the Goldman Sachs research in 2023, it says that the generative AI can increase the global GDP by 7% or by 7 trillion in the next 10-year period. So, therefore, it can bring the huge economic advantage to the society. But at the same time, there are the negative effects of the AI that can be there, particularly on the countries such as the India. Now, guys, when we talk about the AI, it will replace the labor, particularly, guys, the jobs such as the data entry, jobs such as where the manual sorting of some data is done by the people. That all type of job, repetitive task, they will all be taken by the AI. And in this particular sector, a lot of jobs would be replaced. And a research paper, Robots and Jobs, Evidence from US Labor Market, find this particular thing that the robot and these robots, as they are fitted with the AI, they will have a negative effect on the workers, particularly the blue collar workers, the field workers, their number will be impacted. And as per the McKinsey Global report, it is being said that AI adoption might intensify the competition and technological divide. Some companies which will harness the AI at early stages, they will get more advantage, other will not get an advantage. And when we talk about India, when we talk about the India, so basically guys, in the context of India, we need to understand this particular thing, that AI might have a negative effect on the employment, okay, but at the same time AI can also increase the efficiency, okay, increased efficiency can be there by the AI in the call centers, okay. Now when we talk about AI, the government, many editorials have been written which says okay, that AI should be regulated, AI should be controlled, but according to the AI should be controlled. Now there is this PwC report which suggests that the greatest economic gain from the AI will come from China. 26% boost will be there to the China. So at the same time guys, if China will get so much of the advantage by AI, why India cannot? India should also use the AI productively. How India can use AI in education, India can use AI in research, all these things India should use AI. And at the same time, government should not control the AI, rather government should create the cyber setup so that the negative impacts of AI, abuse of AI is AI impinging on the privacy, these issues can be tackled up. So don't regulate AI, rather let AI grow and create the robust cyber structures. Okay, so this is all about it. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Okay, so we have this particular article, don't waste the wastewater. And this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 issues related to the health. Now, how the wastewater is becoming the topic of health? Let's see this particular thing. So basically guys, recently the Lancet Global Health has released a report and they have said okay, that they will use the wastewater for the public health surveillance. And this is not new. In the last 80 years, many number of times, it has been suggested that by checking the wastewater, public health can be seen. Now guys, understand this particular thing. I will recommend you also on the Netflix, there is this series called as Connected. And in that particular series, there is one episode in which they tell that how by tracking the sewage water, how by tracking the river water of the cities, they can tell that what is the health of the people. Now understand this particular thing, that see, whenever a person is infected by any virus, any pathogen or any disease, so all the fragments of the disease virus, they are released in their feces, and when they flush their feces, it reaches to the sewage wastewater, and by analyzing that wastewater, we can actually tell about the health of the people, and during the polio virus also, during the spread of the polio virus also, the polio virus is spread was checked by checking the wastewater, because in the wastewater the polio through the people's feces will come. Now wastewater surveillance is actually called as one of the most cost effective approach. So guys, otherwise you have to take the blood samples, by that you will check the health of the people, but by voice water analysis cost effectively, without invasive approach, without taking the samples, you can do that. And guys, as we talk about the India, even the Niti Ayog has talked about taking up the health surveillance through the wastewater collection. Now, so basically guys, this could be a very important weapon. However, incorporating wastewater surveillance will not fix all the issues. It could help in reduce the reliance on any one source of data. What we can do, we can right now relying on the one source of data by collecting the actual samples from the people. Now the wastewater analysis will also come. All these things when come together, it will help in better surveillance of the disease. We can establish the designated laboratories where basically these wastewater samples could be tested to see the disease causing agents, genetic fragments of bacteria, viruses, etc. All this data can be compiled together, and the timely insights about the disease, their prevalence could be taken up. Is it clear or not? Now guys, when we talk about the disease wastewater surveillance, even the Ayushman Bharat digital mission, okay, it also talks about the wastewater surveillance. Fine, even in the Niti Ayog's in current health vision, it is there. So we should use it immediately in order to make our health surveillance more effective. So that is all about it. Now moving to the next article, women's reproductive autonomy as the new catchword. Okay. Now this particular article, guys, is actually talking about women's reproductive autonomy. Now see, July 11 is observed as the World Population Day. And as we talk about the World Population Day, okay, women will play a very important role in population control as well as the family planning. And the theme of this year World Population Day is unleashing the power of gender equality, uplifting the voices of women and girls to unlock our world's infinite possibilities. This is a theme of the World Population Day. Now guys, when we talk about India, so it in this particular article, India is being appreciated. It is being said that in India, fine, the world's most populous nation that we India are, we have actually used the template for women-led development. Women-led development is going in the science and technology. Women are coming at the forefront in science and technology, in education, healthcare. Everywhere the women are at the forefront. But when we talk about the reproductive autonomy, okay, still the reproductive autonomy is not given to the women in most of the cases. What do we mean by reproductive autonomy? Women need to have the say how many children they want to have. Okay, whether how much gap is need to be there between the two children. In these matters, women are needed to be given more control. We are obsessed with the total fertility rate, okay, family planning services, all such kind of a thing. But the women's autonomy is something, reproductive autonomy is something which also to be given more important. Now, it has been said that population stability in any country will only come when the reproductive decisions, sexual health decisions are free from discrimination, coercion. Not only the male are playing the role here, the women are also playing the role here. Today, India is always commended, appreciated for its family planning. We actually have reduced the total fertility rate. Today, the total fertility rate is 2. Okay. And even when we talk about the family planning 2030 vision of the India, there also it is talking about expanding the contraceptive basket. More contraceptive pills, condoms, etc. are being provided to the people, which is actually reducing the fertility rate. Okay, contraceptive options are being given to the women also. But at the same time, guys, there are certain concern areas that are also needed to be taken up. Now, good things are there. For example, in terms of the maternal health, India has improved a lot. How? Basically, maternal health mortality has reduced by 97. Okay, it has come 97 points from 254 in 2004. So 97 points, 97, we have reduced the infant mortality, maternal mortality rate. Life expectancy at birth has increased. The health of the citizens, it has substantially improved. But at the same time, there are certain concern areas also that are needed to be taken attention. Okay. For example, according to National Family Health Survey 5, just 10% of the women in India are independently able to take decision about their own health. And 11% of the women still believe that marital violence is acceptable. Okay, it is acceptable in a relation. Okay, half of the pregnancies in India are unplanned. So here the women are needed to be given the voice. And by this particular thing also, the true women autonomy will actually come. Fine. So this is all, guys, that we need to focus upon. True women autonomy, true women independence, true women empowerment will come through reproductive health. Okay. So that is all, guys, about it. And now let's take the main practice question for today. So question reads that with artificial intelligence becoming an integral part of the global economy, India should focus on education and training in AI rather than its regulation. Comment. So this is the GS paper number 2 or 3, both places it can be asked. That is all for today. I hope that you have got it. Thank you so much.